everyone, please rejoin your seats. For the ones in the back, please sit in front. I know it reminds you of your school days when you didn't want to sit in front. However, it's way more comfortable for the representatives of the GPs to have people closer to their eyes. So please join us in the front seats. And you will have ample time in less than an hour or so, to do some extra networking and connections and asking questions and LinkedIn and etc. connections at the Champ de Mars networking area. But for now, yes. So we wanted to do a very short, and I will be even shorter than expected, a very short catch-up on what happened, because it's not the first time that this Funds for Change selection is happening. So what happened? What have they become over the last 2 years? The 2022 and 2023 finalists, what have they become? How did they raise the money they wanted? Did they recruit the people they wanted? Did they invest how expected? And so this is a kind of a status update. I will make it extra short, and we will leave you the opportunity to flash a QR code to receive the detailed presentation. So I will go briefly on to some specific slides. So here you have the 22 and 23 finalists. I wanted to focus on the key achievements since 2022, which means a year and a half, because it was in May 2022, nearly 2 years. More than €1 billion raised. It's kind of impressive. More than 90% investment made. And the capital deployed as well is very significant. They, impact funds do a lot to bring awareness to the field, and they do that by participating in awards. They're recognized for their field work, for their breakthrough work, and so this is a selection of the awards that these finalists have received. And for the 2023, which was only last May, nearly €400 million raised, and I know there are some of them who are still not disclosing the numbers, but they have closed more than that. So very happy for them. A very short focus on the teams. Adeline earlier said that, and Charlotte said that it was very important to take a look at the team and the credentials, and we are more than happy to report that these teams for the 2022 finalists were nearly 50-50, 43% of women in the team in average, and totaling 21 women partners. Those of you who know me know that I'm a very active feminist, and it's an important thing to recognize the very specific efforts that impact funds do to promote and pay equally everybody in their teams, partners alike. Okay, 2023 finalists, lots of recruitment as well. Everything's going smoothly. Last thing. Honestly, the discussion we had earlier with Emmanuel and Joanna about cooperation, do you remember? Saying that no single fund could change the methodologies alone, and that obviously we had to work all together, LPs and GPs. Well, I wanted to do a very short focus on how many of these finalists are in fact ecosystem players and ecosystem makers by design. So I believe there's someone from the 2150 team here, if she wants to stand. I hope she's somewhere, who is a VC impact fund who does a lot on community building, who deploys partnerships together and spread knowledge across their thesis, which is urban ecosystems. And that's very commendable because it's a fund which was created only in 2021. The second one, Citizen Capital. It's one of the pioneers in the impact investment space in Europe, and they keep on exploring and pushing the boundaries of innovative topics, opening the books for the other players, for the LPs, educating the market, whether the social impact contracts, fair transition, and agriculture and land financing. Oryx Impact, that's for Africa. It's a very important topic that African private equity firms, African VC firms in impact do not depend only on public money. And so the work of this fund of funds is also, as early as in the due diligence stage, to start building capacity for the VC impact funds to be able to be compatible and fit as early as the very first stages of discussions to be fit for private money. And they build also awareness and advocacy to attract private capital for Africa. Ring Capital, I believe there are some people from Ring Capital, and perhaps there were some people from Oryx, I don't know, somewhere. Please stand. So Ring Capital, she's here. Hello, hello, Servan. Ring Capital, they closed and announced several funds. They're just launching a new vehicle for African VC impact as well. And as an ecosystem player, they set up a coalition called United for Impact because they recognize the importance of regulation in Europe, SFDR feedback and SFDR revision. So they designed and energized 32 impact funds to work together and speak 37, even better. The last number I had was 32. Congrats, Servan. 37 impact funds to make sure that they spoke from a united voice for the update of the SFDR regulation. ChangeNOW, who is somewhere around here. Yes, hello, Romain. ChangeNOW, who's joining me on stage in a couple of minutes. ChangeNOW, he does a lot behind the scenes and supporting fellow emerging managers. And that's ecosystem players, what ecosystem makers do. They do a lot of international advocacy, and that's part of their mandate. That's what LPs support and appreciate in their action. And so, again, congratulations for that. Last but not least, SVX Mexico, Laura, who is an active community builder in the space of regeneration, and they share with an enormous amount of generosity their experience, their know-how, in the topics of regeneration from their Latin American experience, and they cooperate with researchers to keep pushing in the knowledge. And finally, the people from Massawa who are here, please stand, Sabine and Joshua, who are building, honestly, an innovative space around the awareness on mental health as an impact thesis, but really as a topic that any investor should really closely pay attention to, and not as a small niche, but as a transversal topic. They've been speaking at WEF. They've been literally all around Europe and the US, and building a methodology called Nurture Capital, which they're proofing and testing, prototyping, so that one day more impact VCs and more impact players will know how to nurture the entrepreneurs and the companies alike. And last but not least, also thinking and building about the new ways of deploying steward capital, right? And stewardship is a topic that is very dear to anyone who understands and who likes impact. So thank you for that. Thank you, everybody. Any ecosystem player deserves our respect and our gratitude and appreciation, because they build what will be the plain vanilla of tomorrow. So thank you. Yes. With this little QR code, you will have access to little summary reports for each and every of the 25 finalists that I mentioned. So feel free to flash it, and we will send it to you in a couple of days with the full details of their achievements, information, contact info, obviously, so that you can reach out to them as easily, as smoothly as today. Thank you. Now, we wanted to do something special, which was to have someone from the 2022 finalists do a little. Where is she? Where is Laurence? Oh, here, please. 2022 finalists say words of two of what happened since 2022, and perhaps share what's going on in the future, because Funds for Change is also, a long-standing journey with our GP teams. So thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Imen. Hello, everyone. When we started Citizen Capital in 2008, so that's 16 years ago, we could not imagine that the impact investing sector would be moving the needle in the whole industry of private equity. And hearing you all today, I think it's happening now. Because if you really want to answer tough challenges, you have no choice but to innovate and find new funding models. So if I step back in 2022, we at the time, Citizen Capital, were investing in, I'd say, seed, Series A, Series B, early growth, companies with big impact potential. And I had the chance to talk at Funds for Change in 2022 on 2 new, totally out-of-the-box funds on agriculture and social impact bonds. The first, Agri-Impact, helps farmers to diversify their activities and revenues, primarily processing and renewable energies. And the second fund, Social Impact Bonds, invests in nonprofits that undertake ambitious programs to foster innovation in public policies. This is a model of preservation of capital. Well, it really helped, because the fact of selecting these really diverse, innovative, worldwide funds helped us, at that time, highlight the fact that traditional VC and PE can find its limits when it comes really to hard problem solving. We need diverse strategies, but we also need different models, I mean business models of funds. We actually managed to successfully raise these 2 funds, so thanks to Fund for Change. What's happened since? Since then, we've noticed 2 or 3 things. Well, first, impact can perform financially. We made successful investments both in social impact and environmental impact. Open Classrooms, Deep Key, Ipsos Santé, some of them were in the Impact 40 yesterday. Second, we all know that environmental transition is a huge technological, industrial, financial challenge, but it's documented. We know where we should allocate capital. What we don't know is what will be the social impact of this transition. There will be no transition if people feel that this tremendous change is leaving them on the side, or is not accessible for them, or is increasing inequalities. And that's what we're starting to see with angry farmers in Europe and before the Gilets jaunes. So transition is also a social challenge. And that's the fund we're starting to raise, dedicated to early stage projects that support fair transition. And we wish, we wish to come back and talk more, if we're not fully allocated, about these funds that will be on fundamental needs. Thank you.
Thank you, Laurence. Fair transition is absolutely a crucial topic, and thank you for raising awareness today about it. Next up, Romain. Romain Diaz from ChangeNOW, 2023 finalists. I'm very, very happy to have you today and to listen to your great announcement and your achievement. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am delighted to be here. Romain Diaz from ChangeNOW. We're an early-stage climate tech venture capital firm investing in what we call the future of Earth. We're on a mission to invest in the daring, the people who have the minds, the wills, and the heart to build solutions against climate change, to build a fair, regenerative, and sustainable future. We have already made 13 investments from our first fund, companies doing things like fixing methane leaks in the energy sector, building alternative proteins, building construction materials that are low carbon and circular, using AI to reduce food waste, using satellite data to bridge environmental data gaps in Africa. Incredible things. And this is the credit that I'm giving to the incredible founders that we're backing, because they have already yielded a more than 4x multiple on the investment that we made since the first closing of our fund, which was a year and a half ago. Impact is very much at the core of what we do. We're an SFDR Article 9 fund in the EU taxonomy, and we've recently been awarded the B Corp certification, which embodies the change that we wish to bring into the world by investing in the right solutions and doing it the right way, with an ecosystem approach and a stakeholder capitalism approach. I was very privileged last year to be part of the funds presenting at ChangeNOW 2024, and since then we've been very hard at work investing, supporting portfolio companies, and raising the fund. And now, today, at ChangeNOW 2024, 1 year later, I'm very, very pleased and honored to announce the final closing of our fund with 8 million in LP commitments, which is, thank you so much. It's still a drop in the ocean as compared to the trillions of dollars that we need to invest in the energy transition to have a more sustainable future. But it gets us started, and I want to extend a profound token of gratitude to our LPs who have backed us since the beginning, all the Sargana Collective, my partner, Anil, and all the people behind us, and Imen, and Fund for Change, and the ecosystem at large. And we're here to stay and to support more founders, and for us this only paves the way. It's only a start. It's the start of a journey. It's a responsibility, and it paves the way to invest in more companies. We will build a portfolio of 30 companies in the next 2 years. It paves the way for future funds that we will raise, and it paves the way for future generations. Thank you so much.
Merci. Merci beaucoup. Okay, I'm all emotional now. Okay, back to business, back to pitching. So, I have now a counterexample from Emmanuel's presentation earlier about the disconnect between investment decisions and planetary boundaries. This vehicle combines the traditional value add of a private equity fund, which is, for instance, financing buy and build, with the intentional approach of creating European champions in climate solutions. We cannot wait for these champions to grow slowly. So let's start small and build them, all led by one of the iconic asset management firms in Europe. And for me, again, that's a very strong signal that it's time for the redirection of financial flows towards truly transformative thesis. So Erwan, please join me.
Hi everyone. I really feel like a UFO here because I'm in the buyout world. So welcome to the buyout world for the next 4 minutes. I'm Erwan Olinier. I'm a partner at Eurazeo. And we are an asset manager managing 35 billion euro under... Oh, sorry for this. 35 billion euro under management. At Eurazeo, we've been at the forefront of the R&D when it's about integrating ESG criteria into investment strategy, and we've been promoting this across the industry since 2008. We are all here acutely aware that we need to go beyond ESG to achieve results. And this is why I'm really delighted to present you our Eurazeo Planetary Boundary Strategy. So it's innovative in the way that it integrates environmental solutions into value creations. There is a video, yes, and again, sorry for that. So first of all of our strategy is based on a scientific approach that has been developed by the Stockholm Resilience Center. Climate scientists have been in a position to identify and define some limits on 9 processes that allow Earth to provide a safe operating space for humanity. So we are in a position to measure the impact, either positive or negative, on any business activity. That means that as investors, we are in a position to assess our actions as well. So our strategy here is to select and back companies that provide environmental solutions, either through their service or the use of their manufactured product to the safeguarding of at least one of those planetary boundaries. And to make it happen, the second innovative that we are keen to share with the industry is our in-house methodology. We have built this based on already existing frameworks that are already the benchmark, and we apply it through a design purpose methodology to answer the limit of the planetary boundaries. So we are in a position, again, to measure the contribution of these environmental contributive companies with their solutions. That's really important to make it happen again. It's a buyout play. And now we are in a space where there are more and more profitable and mature businesses that need to be at scale. So again, we have been investigating and evaluating the potential of that, and our assessment is that we can invest up to $3 trillion in this category of companies. And as you can see, in the different fields of investment, these opportunities are really concrete and actionable. With our team, we are working on close to 100 investment opportunities already. So it's really concrete again and actionable. And to make this change happen, we need to invest more in the regenerative economy or in the circular economy. But those are still emerging and highly fragmented. So that's why we decided to combine our ESG track record with what we have done for the last 20 years, deploying our playbook of buy and build strategy. By combining these two tested and trialed methodology, we are in a position to really put at scale those environmental solutions that many small and mid-cap companies already deliver. So with benefiting from the powerhouse of Eurazeo and its network, we are currently raising a fund that we aim to put at €1 billion. And it's an Article 9 fund, European focus. And the name of this fund is Eurazeo Planetary Boundaries. Thank you.
Thank you, Erwan. Any questions from the audience? Questions? No? Okay. Selection committee, any questions?
Hello.
Thank you. Are you planning to invest in only in green companies, or is more a gray to green strategy?
No, it's not a gray to green strategy. It's really to invest in companies that provide solutions to one of these planetary boundaries. So we may invest in companies that are enabler to this, to allow some gray to green action plan, but they are for solutions. So that could be engineering company to operate decarbonization, but it's not a fund for decarb. It's really a fund that it's new business model again, a circular economy, regenerative economy. We can support companies to do their journey, but by definition, natively, those companies are already for solutions.
Thank you. Second question? Yes.
I may have one.
Yes.
You presented yourself as a UFO.
Yes. Today, at least today. It's quite rare, but it happens.
But it's probably the case, I imagine, overall. So can you tell us a little bit more about your more mainstream competitors and why you think they're not doing what you're doing?
For what we know, interacting with a lot of institutional investor, LP, family office, and so on, there's no buyout fund that decided to back their strategy with such a scientific approach. And what's really new in the way we are going to set up the team, it will not be composed just of investors, but also of environmental engineers, already fully integrating with our team, to allow us to provide, to the companies a full holistic support to accelerate their positive contribution, to accelerate that impact roadmap. So the way we are going to set the team, it's an innovative answer as well to the problematic in the buyout space.
Thank you very much, Erwan.
Most welcome. Thank you very much.
Okay, back to water. So the fund who is going to come on stage in a couple of seconds is called Water Equity. And again, the name says it all, with the dual meaning of equity. For me, it's a superb thesis focused on water and sanitation, and understood as the intentional pursuit of improving living conditions and access for beneficiaries. I found the mix of infrastructure and growth particularly savvy to boost returns and manage risk profile. So everything while preserving objectives and impacts. So thank you. And please, Monica, join me to present water equity.
Good afternoon, everyone. Before I start, I want to ask you, how many of you have experienced water shortage? Can you raise your hand? Okay, so the reality is that billions live in water-stressed areas. 1 in 4 lack access to safe water, 2 in 5 access to sanitation. And those numbers are even increasing. How that is possible in 2024? Now, water connects every part of our lives and of our economies. So investing in a more sustainable management of water resources and ensuring universal access to reliable, safe water and sanitation, it's a no-brainer to know that that delivers pure impact to billions around the planet. But still, one of the reasons, and maybe we often don't think, why is it that we have not closed that gap? Well, access to finance for those people to solve their own problem and for those infrastructure we need to deliver those services to be there is a main barrier. Sorry. Oh, okay. And that's where we have come to exist, because basically we're an asset manager exclusively focused on water and sanitation. We have spun out of a NGO called water.org. And since 2016, in our inception, we have been able to raise 436 million in investment capital, more than 5 million people with access to safe water and sanitation in 16 countries across Latin America, Asia, and Africa. And I don't know why I'm so nervous, but one moment. Yeah, I think it was not working first, so I got a little off. And this is a topic really close to my heart. I'm the Director of Climate Impact and basically trying to integrate water resources management into our investment decisions. But as much as we have achieved together with many partners around the world, the reality is that climate and their impacts experienced mainly through the water cycle are halting this progress and reversing some of the gains we have had. And that's why basically, if you know, we don't even need extreme events. Half of the world, 4 billion, already experience 1 month a year water scarcity. And that's why we had to rethink ourselves, right? We couldn't just be focused on access to water and sanitation. We had to go from household level solutions, that is what we have done for years, to resilient water supply systems. And for that reason is that we basically have had to expand also our impact framework to also include water scarcity, mitigation of water scarcity, and water quality. And that's what I'm presenting here to you today, is our new Water and Climate Resilience Fund. Basically, it's a 200 million private equity fund that is going to cover the same continents we have already served in the past, but we are going to be investing directly in projects and growth companies across the entire value chain. The main motivation for these investments are basically to ensure that low-income communities, disproportionately affected by these extreme events, are able to cope. And then we can hope they can thrive, because if they cannot cope, there is no way they will thrive. And we are aiming to impact 15 million people in 10 years term. Thank you very much. Okay.
This is a topic very dear to my heart. I'm an Algerian citizen, not only French, and those months of water supply and water access have been all my life as a child and in summer, and they're still the life of my family. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Okay, just leaving you some time to breathe here. Okay.
Yes. I must confess there was something in the slides different, and it just got
That's
me
fine.
off.
That's fine. We're here for you. Any questions from the audience? Yes. Thank you.
Oh.
Hello? Okay. Can you tell us a bit about the funders that you already have on board, what sort of profile you have, and when we talk about exit, what sort of timeline are we looking at as well?
Okay, thank you. Yes, I mean, we already did the first close, and they're different. It could be from family offices, but it also includes large corporates because they have water risk. And I think one something that is very good about our framework is that we're going to be reporting impacts at watershed scale of what we're doing there, right? So they. Then, in terms of exit, I would have to defer you to our colleagues, but it's a 10-year term fund.
Thank you. Next question. Yes.
Thank you, Monica. Could you tell us a little bit more about your climate resilience strategy in terms of investments, please?
Thank you. Well, I think what has been unique, and I think before Olivier was saying, is difficult sometimes to introduce a new strategy, is that although we can't just decide one investment at a time, we're trying to see the watersheds, the place where water takes place, right, and the water cycle takes place. What is the baseline? What is happening there? What is the context? And then we are able to say, how does this investment is not only climate resilient itself, but how it can impact the life, the vulnerability of those communities, the water provision system, and the watershed. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, if we don't save the water sources, we're not going to have water in our taps.
Thank you so much. Please. Thank you. Okay, now we're getting into an unsexy, harder to grasp, and a quick pitch than other topics. Too small, perhaps, for some of you. This is what deep tech sounds for a lot of LPs. Yet it's highly, highly necessary for anyone serious about impact. It can unlock very specific industrial challenges in climate transition, the hardest ones to crack, to be honest. And it's about financing today the breakthrough technologies which will become mainstream in 10 years from now to allow for a possible net zero, for instance. So we need to pay attention today to Marc.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mark, and I'm one of the 2 co-founders of Almanac Ventures. And today, I want to talk about why I believe that we need to look at the climate change differently. The pace, the EU has set 2050 as a target date to achieve net zero emissions. However, the pace and the scale of change is simply insufficient to get us there. But why? For the last 20 years, most of climate capital has gone into 3 things: solar, wind, and electric vehicles. I guess as a society, we thought, hey, if the problem is fossil fuels, let's just change fossil fuels to a greener source, leave the rest business as usual, and solved, right? Wrong. If we really need to achieve the level of decarbonization that we're seeking, we need to tackle what we call the messy middle. And I'm talking about the interrelated, complex, fragmented, specialized, capex-heavy industrial complexes that actually support how we eat, how we make things, where we live. We believe for the next wave of climate change investing, we need to look for breakthrough ideas that focus on a systemic approach. So no longer we can think about supply and demand, we need to have a systemic way of thinking. And this is why we're launching the 1.5 fund. The 1.5 fund is an early stage venture capital fund of 50 million euros that looks to invest in bold, untested, but potentially world-changing ideas that aim to decarbonize the supply chains. We're going to be looking through Europe for deep and hard tech solutions that have the ability to do three simultaneous things at the same time.
Amazing.
They need to improve performance, reduce cost, and improve the carbon footprint.
You were very...
If we do that, we achieve systemic change. And we believe if we achieve systemic change, we can do two collateral effects. The first one is that we can have a multiplier effect emissions reduction. And the second one is that we can achieve an attractive financial return for our investors. But let's get into specifics. These are two examples of systemic investing. It currently takes over 4 to 5 years to develop a bio-based agricultural product for the agricultural industry. Think of fertilizer. FA Bio is a company that is able to reduce that to less than 2 years by a patented technology that is able to detect the microorganisms in the soil that actually affect the plant. This increases the potential to create bioproducts, take them to market faster, reduce chemicals, improve soil health, global scale impact. In the case of Jolt, it's a company that is helping to democratize the use of green hydrogen by tackling one of the most important points or bottlenecks in hydrogen production, which is the electrolyzer. By reducing the cost of the electrolyzing and improving its performance, you can actually give it a fighting chance to use it to decarbonize industries. We have 8 deals already warehoused in our fund, and we have the ability to invest in another 90 deals. And I want to talk about why it makes a difference. It's 3 main things: the experience, reach, and approach. Joe and I have a combined 20 years of experience in the deep tech and climate investing space. We have our own investment methodology that mines for systemic dynamics and maximizes total impact. And we have our own network of EU-wide research centers, as well as a strategic partnership with Climate Kick. So we're now looking for cornerstone investors. So come talk to us afterwards, and let's see how we can do climate change a little bit differently. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Any questions on deep tech? Questions? Yes? Yes, please. Here.
You mentioned bold ideas, which probably means high risk and high return. So how do you manage the risk and how high the returns?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, for us, I'm an impact investor, so I don't think about risk and return. I think about risk and return and impact, right? But to your point, very risky ideas. Our thesis is 90 to 95% of what we invest is just simply not going to work. There might not even be a market for it. But that other 5%, if it works, it's world-changing. And that's exactly what we need to aim for. Now, I think in the world of climate change investing, we need to be investing in many things: solar, wind, all of these things we need to invest. But we also need to be investing in the technologies that we're going to need in 10 years' time. And we don't see too many people focus on that. It's high risk, but also high reward.
Happy to have the deck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other question? Selection committee, perhaps? No? Well, I have a question. What makes a mission-driven founder special in your eyes the first time you meet them?
That's a question we get a lot. And I don't think you can break it down. You see it in somebody. You can call it intentionality. You can call it coherence in their career, what they've been doing for the last 10 years. But they're usually able to craft a very clear story from where they started, what they've learned, and why they want to do this. And when you see that aligned as well with their skills and expertise, you see it in their eyes, I guess.
Thank you. Thank you, Marc.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Okay. Are you still awake? Are you still awake? Yes, relatively. Okay. So the next fund. This deck first and the team then intrigued me. They developed an innovative investment structure which allows 2 seemingly impossible targets. The first one, de-risking the investment for LPs, and the second one, offering a controlled dilution for entrepreneurs. So again, I do not believe in plain vanilla solutions to the variety of impact businesses financing needs. And 3 Hills certainly covers it in an elegant and sophisticated way. So Stéphanie, please join me.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Steph. I'm the head of sustainability from Three Hills. We invest in founder-led businesses across Europe. We're a bit of an exotic bird in that we provide structured capital. So it's essentially a mix of debt and equity. And we really do that in order to provide a tailored solution to every entrepreneur that needs growth capital. It's interesting from an investor perspective, because by structuring the product that way, you're obviously a bit more downside protected while also being able to reap all the benefits from the upside. For our entrepreneurs, it's really interesting because you dilute less, and hence we invest alongside the entrepreneurs that believe in their business and want to go into a second stage of growth, and we do that together. So, in a way, they essentially, take a second bite of the apple. So, a bit more about Three Hills. Who are we? We're a fund that has been around for 10 years. We've done up to date 25 transactions. We have 4 funds. We focus on the mid-market, so small and medium enterprises that are profitable and are looking for growth capital. And we're a team that 60 plus professionals across 4 offices. We're headquartered in London. And the reason why we're here today is because we really believe in sustainability. It's part of our DNA. We believe in you can do well and do good for business. We are B Corp. We have our own foundation. And we have invested in innovative business models that have significant positive social or environmental change. And looking backwards at our 10-year history, we realized that more than half of our assets under management actually qualify as an Article 9 product. We have invested in innovative business models that are trying to close a certain market gap, trying to address the social or environmental need. And hence, this led to the genesis of what we call Three Hills Impact, so a sister strategy that is purely dedicated to impact investing. It's an Article 9 fund, and we are trying to address 3 key pillars with our investment strategy: people, planet, and progress. So we are looking for businesses in education, in health, in fostering responsible consumption, organizations that help us think through the energy transition, and obviously everything that has to do with technology that is enabling those 2 pillars. The reason why we're doing that is because we really believe that there's an urgent need also in Europe to address some of this, and this can be done with commercial capital. And the other reason why we're doing this is because we have deep expertise. The logos that you see here are businesses that we've either invested in the past or are currently in our portfolio. So where are we now? We wouldn't be here if we wouldn't be at the start. We are building the plane whilst we're flying it. We've done our first investment out of Three Hills Impact earlier this year in a business called Hispatec. It's a Spanish agri-tech business that is trying to help farmers be more efficient and reduce carbon along their value chain from growing to gate. It's a software solution. We are really excited about our first investment. But we're here for a reason. We need you. We're planning to deploy 250 million going forward, and hence, investors and businesses alike, please come talk to us because we need your support. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Any questions about Three Hills? Questions? Yes, please.
Thanks, Steph, for your presentation. Your model is really unique. Can you tell us more about how you work with the entrepreneurs? Maybe some anecdotes or some experience of how you work with them and what kind of entrepreneurs they are?
Yes, thank you. So I think entrepreneurs come to us and work with us if they really believe in kind of the next phase of growth. They don't just want to cash out. And as a result of it, it's extremely important to kind of be really aligned with the entrepreneur, right? So we invest together with the entrepreneur into his business. That's kind of, our credo. How do we work together? We are minority investors, so of course, more of the carrot, less of the stick. And we try to really understand what the business needs. We tailor the product, but ultimately also post-investment, we have an in-house value creation team that spans from sustainability to tech to HR, of senior professionals in-house that really help them try and accelerate that growth. So, we work in partnership because ultimately we align the incentives so that we invest together in the business.
Other question? Yes?
Thank you. Your investment thesis seems to be broad. So in terms of distinctiveness compared to other impact investing funds, could you maybe share an example of thematic that you would not consider?
So look, we keep it obviously broad, given that you always need to fill the funnel with fodder, and I think for us this has been done, as mentioned before, based on the experience that we have in some of the sectors, and most importantly also trying to really understand across some of the European countries what are the most urgent needs. And hence, of course, we have a few business models that we really like and that we're really promoting. The ones that maybe we're less excited about are the ones that all of us grapple with in, for example, the progress packet. Digitization is important, but for whom? If you focus on public players, you can make an incredible impact for some of the administrations in particular in continental Europe. But of course, I think a priori we don't exclude anything, but I think we obviously have a very focused mandate, and we're really trying to generate significant positive social and environmental impact.
Thank you, Stéphanie.
Thank you all.
Okay, I have a good one for you. Did you hear about the ChangeNOW announcement yesterday or the day before of going multi-local, with hubs created all around the world as a way to connect locally change makers, finance people, activists to accelerate impact designed for that region or that area? Well, it should definitely ring a bell with the thesis of this unique fund, which could be, one of the next big things, decentralization, and not in a blockchain way, especially in response to specific needs regarding resilience and adaptation of business model to local needs. This is very inspiring to me, and VC takes conviction, and that's what Unruly brings to the stage. So welcome. Welcome, Stefano.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Stefano. I run Unruly Capital, which is a future tech discovery platform. So we really try to see what is next, be there very early, and find the things that are really going to drive the world forward. So we have a specific impact thesis, which is radical technological acceleration. So we do think that by just building more technology, building more stuff, and doing it faster, we're going to have the most impact possible. And so if you look at all the trends, if we build more computers, we connect more people to the internet, we build more food alternatives, it is all driven by the technology. And so Unruly is really built to finance the next breakthrough technologies so that we can have more satellites in space, connecting more people, and in the end, having somewhat indirect, maybe, oftentimes very direct, real impact on the people. And so we do that through a wide portfolio. We have around 80 companies in the portfolio at the end of the fund life. We're at 45 now, and we'll do anything from fusion to algae and anything in between. The companies that we chose to showcase here, we're financing people that are building miniaturized MRI machines so that every doctor in every neighborhood can have a 200, 300K miniaturized MRI machine. We're helping build OTEC technology, which is geothermal in the water, in the ocean, so that tropical islands can stop using diesel, which is what they're using as of today. And we're transforming coastal deserts by spraying seawater in the sky and making livable microclimates. This has worked before. I've been doing this for a while now, and thankfully it has worked by finding the weird people early on and giving them the financing without really asking too much of what they want to do. But really just, we have an example here with Madsen and Infinite Roots, who is building a mycelium fermentation platform for all sorts of substitutions. And so now obviously the question is, well, what is next? And so this is what we've been trying to answer for the past year. What we have really noticed from the best founders that we find is a trend of trying to decentralize the real world. And so get away with centralized institutions, get away with big centralized corporations, and adversarial countries, and instead try to build stuff more to the edge, at the frontier, closer to the customers, closer to the final users. And so obviously, all renewable energy is very much decentralizing, where you can generate the energy on your rooftop, you can store it in your garage, and this goes for a household as well as a country. But we're seeing that very much with production, food production, metal production. We have a lot of metal 3D printing companies, and we really do think that by financing these type of solutions, we can drive, again, technological advancement, which in the end will very much benefit the people. So Unruly is at Fund 1. I raised $23.5 million for Fund 1 in the end of, let's say, beginning of 2023. We'll probably go out to raise again next year, proving the thesis. And yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you, Stefano. Any questions? Yes? Thank you.
Hey.
Yes.
All right.
Hey.
This sounds immensely exciting. I mean, really, everything you just said, very well presented. What I was wondering is, now that you can basically invest in most things, most verticals, most areas, how do you come across for your LPs to convince them that, you're a specialist or whatever, you understand basically anything between here and the universe, right?
We're obviously the dumbest people in the room at the end of the day, every day. It's a very humbling experience talking with the people that are building all this stuff. We don't understand it. What we do understand is founders, and when we have exceptional founders in front of us, they are the ones that teach us, that tell us how the world is going to work in 10 years, and hopefully, we're open-minded enough to be able to believe them. And when they really convince us, then we're on board, but it's very rare that we know anything more than them, obviously.
Another question? Yes.
Thanks so much. I really absolutely adore the idea of basing your strategy on the idea of decentralization. I'm wondering about your pipeline. How many are in, let's say, less centralized places, geographies, communities? How you get your decentralization through everything that you do?
Yeah, so we have companies all over the world. 60% use Europe, 30% is the US, 10% is in Africa. Cities are still, a mega technology and very much in their centralizing phase. So we're not betting against cities and against hubs. And so, we're financing a lot of companies in London, in Silicon Valley. But we do see, from time to time, something that comes out absolutely out of nowhere. And our job is to be, loud enough and maybe weird enough that no one else will finance them. And hopefully they find us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for being weird. Okay. Next up, health in Africa has been a central topic for many discussions in ChangeNOW over the years in the conference section. This Maiden Fund is a women-led fund and builds on a series of credentials to challenge some common misconceptions, and they have the receipts. The African continent should not be seen, in my opinion, by European LPs as a land of beneficiaries of health solutions, only to be financed by public money or DFIs, but really and more critically as a land of innovators and founders with effective and impactful solutions, and quite fit for private money. Dr. Dami, the stage is yours. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Dami Adeyemi Levites from HealthCap Africa, where we make great investments, we make great returns, and we make great impacts while doing that as well. Sorry. All right, so HealthCap Africa is an Africa-focused VC firm. We have a total portfolio value of about $700 million. We're a team of sector experts. I am a medical doctor and a chartered accountant as well. I have my FCCA certification. My general partner, Dr. Ola Brown, is also a medical doctor and a finance professional. On our team also, we have pharmacists, we have science laboratory technologists and the likes, just to make sure that we have a very balanced team in terms of managing our portfolios. We are sector focused and we are also impact focused. Our investment strategy is actually laser focused on maximizing returns and also maximizing impact. We have a focus on the big four markets in Africa, and that is Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, and Egypt. When it comes to our fund, our previous fund, we have assessed over 1,000 deals, invested in 18 portfolio companies across 10 African countries. We have had follow-on capital raised at, up to about $82 million. And some of the portfolios under our management, on the average, have an MOIC of about 7x. We have achieved one exit at 25% IRR, a TVPI of 7.19x, and a DPI of about 5x. So these are some of our notable companies that we've invested in: Paystack, Flutterwave, MDAS Global, Lifebank, and Real Fruits. I'll just talk briefly about Paystack and one other company there. We invested in Paystack at a valuation of $1 million, and we exited at a valuation of $205 million when they were acquired by Stripe. That's an MOIC of 205x. We had just $10,000 to invest then, but imagine if we wrote a check of $100,000 or $200,000. Imagine the amount of returns we would have made for our investors. Another one is Flutterwave, invested in at $1.5 million valuation. Right now, Flutterwave is at $3 billion valuation. That's 2,000x MOIC. That's a lot. So we're very big on spotting winners early in the African market, and we invest in them. Some other winners we've invested in are MDAS Global. They are into digital diagnostics, medical diagnostics as a service. Lifebank is another very classic example that makes blood available for women who are put into bed in Africa. In Africa, on the average, 80% of deaths actually occur because of hemorrhage when women are put into bed. That's maternal mortality. Lifebank is taking care of that, and that's a very huge impact we have in the market already. We're raising a $30 million fund right now, and we are going to be Pan-African about how we're going to invest it. It's going to focus on health tech and also fintech. And because we have the ability to spot winners early, we're actually having to enter the market at lower valuation for our investors to make tremendous returns. This is why we are different. Our Fund 1 was top quartile of funds globally. We are sector experts, like I said earlier on, and we have a strong strategic network. In terms of impact, we've been able to create 13,000 jobs, direct and indirect, in Nigeria and Africa. About 49.5% of our portfolio companies have women in management. And of all our portfolio companies, about 56.7% of their employees are women. So we are big on women empowerment, and we're also big on creating jobs for everyone that actually works on our portfolio team. And then finally, Peter was saying something about the newcomers in Europe. We have a portfolio company called Kishi, and they are also into remittance, foreign remittances. And I mean, if we have Kishi as that company that actually takes care of your remittances, then we are also impacting people in Europe indirectly by sending money to Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Dami. Questions from the audience? Questions? Yes, that would be from the selection committee.
Thank you so much for your presentation and for your work. Affordability of healthcare, especially in emerging markets and in Africa, is really a challenge. Can you tell us more about what you do on this issue?
Okay, I'll take a key from my experience I've had. I don't know if you know about Reliance Health in Nigeria. I was part of the team that actually brought about change in the health insurance market in Nigeria. With a plan we raised, we designed as low as $3 per month. People were able to access care, good quality care, up to the level of secondary care, and also be able to afford it at the same time. The major problem we had in Nigeria then was that most health insurance companies will want you to buy health insurance and buy it in bulk for a whole year. There was no monthly payments. We brought that change into the market. Then another way we are helping the industry also is in the area of prompt payment of providers. There was a problem in the health insurance industry then about prompt payment of providers. We took care of that as well. So that actually helped people to want to buy health insurance more because now trust is actually rebuilt in the ecosystem and we can actually make tremendous impacts in that regard. I hope I answered the question. Thank you.
Thank you. Another question? Yes. Oh, yes, please.
Oh, sorry, I'm just new in this, so I don't know how you invest in an African fund as a European LP.
Well, I mean, I think it follows almost the same process, but I mean, it now depends on what your investment thesis is or what you're really interested in. Because we do both returns and impact, it's something we can actually talk off call because I can't do that, my time is up here. But I can give you some feedback after this meeting. We can actually talk about it. I'll take you through how that actually happens for HealthCap Africa.
Thank you for that question. It's an important one. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Dami.
Thank you.
Oops. Female Catalyst Fund, glorious name. What I particularly liked was OXO's ecosystemic approach to gender investing in Europe. They trigger a much bigger impact on the market than its actual AUM, assets under management. Because of it, it makes other VCs see talented founders in a way they would not have seen them. The team embodies the cooperative approach at each stage of a project life, from sourcing to deal making to monitoring. So kudos to this deep behind the doors work. And please, Dr. Gesa, the floor is yours.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Gesa. I'm one of the founders of the OXO Female Catalyst Fund. We co-invest in teams with at least one female founder. Our vision is that one day, especially the boards of the publicly listed companies are a mirror of society. And we start with female founders because studies have shown that diversity will follow on all levels. So who are we? Tina, my partner, and I. Tina is a mathematician and has been working in venture capital for the past 10 years. My background is in startups and strategy consulting. And we started angel investing back in 2019. We did 14 angel investments together, which now stand at around over 4x. And we did many things together. For example, we created one of the most known and popular communities in Europe, according to Sifted, called the Evangelistas, which is a community of over 350 female business angels. We were also founding members of many good initiatives like Encourage Ventures or European Women in VC. But let's take you back to why we do what we do. So we invest into female founders because the numbers show that female founders are very successful. They take shorter time to exit, they perform very well, they have fewer write-offs, they are crisis resistant. And on the other hand, if we look at the numbers, 20% female founders in Europe garnering less than 10% of the total VC capital, only 2% actually going to female-only teams, then we see there is a discrepancy, and it's a very attractive discrepancy. So we do not only bring impact, but we bring really good financial returns for us and for our LPs. We created a first fund back in 2021 and have invested in 30 companies so far across different industries, as you can see. We have no write-offs, one write-off so far. We don't have any down rounds, but we have several up rounds that have, reputable investors such as Sequoia or Ventec coming into the follow-on rounds. We do something very, very special. So we want to bridge the gap between female founders and the very male venture capital world. That's why what we do is that we bring these two sides together, and we do this with the community that we have, which is very female, of course, but many men including in this. And we bring to the table something that is very complementary in the cap table to what the typical VC investors bring. So what do? We bring the safe space for the female founders, and we really look at mental and physical health of the founders themselves and of the founding teams so that they can build healthy companies. And all of this is obviously completely ROI driven. There's two approaches that we have. The first approach being we're the first ones to identify the founders. It's very typical. And then we try to bring the very male VC world to lead the rounds that we go into. So we offer the founders the access, and we coach them how to pitch, basically. The second is that we get invited into deals, and when we get invited into deals, we open up our very female community, and we offer this safe space that I just talked about, which is really important to us. We are currently raising our second fund, and we cannot drive this system change, which I just